So to go ahead and bring in those assets into Unity so we can see them, I'm just gonna, in my assets folder, I'm gonna go ahead and create another folder in here. We'll just call it, I don't know, skull bricks. All right. Open that folder up. I'm gonna go find there's my textures. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab those and just bring them right in to Unity so we have them. And actually, we don't even need to fix our emissive. Unity should already fix that for us. There's our emissive texture. We can go ahead and say alpha is transparent. We want it on that. All right. And we've got our skull texture. Now we need to set up a new material here, where we can go create and make a material. It's called skull bricks. And we'll just assign the various maps that we have. So we've got our normal map. We'll bring into our normal map field right here. Oh, it's going to say that this isn't marked as a normal map. Do you want to fix it? Say yes. I'll make that a normal map. All right, you can see it there. There's our normal map. We can go ahead and add our texture in right here, albedo. Got our texture, and then we can go ahead and add in our emissive. Oh, let's first activate emissive. So we'll go to emission, check it, and then we'll drag in our emissive map in there. Oh, whoops, my bad. Bring it into there. Oh, you know what? We actually do need to fix it. Okay, so what we need to do is, you'll notice that if I look at the texture, that's pretty intense, right? It's not really what we want for our emission because we had an incandescent map. It's a little bit different. So to fix this and make it a emissive map, all we need to do is add black to it. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and open it in Photoshop. So I'm going to find my layers here. Let's go here and say, show in folder. We should have a transparent, let's go to skull bricks. We have this emissive texture. All right, it should be a transparent PNG with a little bit of green right there. I'm going to open this in Photoshop. Open with Photoshop. I'll let this open up for a second here. And I could have added another layer in MUDBOX that was black behind it, or move this texture over to my main layers, but this is fine. It's another way of doing it. So in Photoshop, to turn this into an emissive layer, all we have to do is add black to it. So I have it open here in Photoshop just so you can see it. I'm just going to add a layer underneath it, and I'm just going to fill that layer. So you have something like that, all right? And then with this all selected, I'm just going to say flatten image. So we have black with color above it. Say file, save. I'm going to save over the PNG. Go ahead and close this down and go back into Unity. It should reload that texture. So now we have something like that. And alpha is not transparent, so uncheck that. And we'll go to skull bricks, and there you go. Now you've got the emissive texture on there as well. And with the emission, we can go ahead and, if you want, you can change the amount of emission of that particular texture. All right. You can change the intensity if you need to as well. So even if you wanted to animate it too, you can do something like that. Get an animation on the material. All right. So got our emission texture on there. So now what we can do is we have our texture set up. Go into tools. Oh, Pro Builder's already open. So let's say new shape. So we've got a little thing there. Let's go ahead and edit that. All right, so there's our block. Now if I just bring in skull bricks, put it right on top, you'll see that each one of those little squares is now filled with the texture that we made in MUDBOX. All right. So if I had, do I have my tools? Oh, I don't have ProGrids, but if you have ProGrids installed, let me go ahead and add that really quickly. Window, Package Manager, and we'll add ProGrids in here, which is under where's that? Oh, Advanced Show Preview Packages. Go down to ProGrids. I'll install that. All right. So with ProGrid selected, let's go ahead and take this out. The nice thing about this texture is each one of these is a 1-to-1 ratio of a unit size in Unity, right? So what we can do is when we have our thing selected here and ProGrids is on, right? Let's make this like 1, so it'll snap to 1, right? And bring out these. Oh, turn on. Or on. Oh, let's go ahead and move this so it's that one. There we go. All right, so you pull these out, and if we add skull bricks to it, let's actually add it to the model itself. Skull bricks. All right. Each one of these. All right, will be a unit big, right? So actually, I don't think this was set to a unit. Actually, right. There we go. So now if we come in here and bring these down, right, these are all at a unit. All right, so you can do some pretty cool stuff with just messing around with those tileable textures, especially if you're building out a level. It's really easy to kind of figure out your design on things based on setting up the material, doing something that repeats nicely. You know, it'll work really well. This was actually not at the right height, I think, when I created that, but I'll put that in there. But really cool, right? So you could do a variety of textures, right? And you'll get that nice effect on them just by, you know, making something quickly in MUDBOX and then bringing it over and using it in Unity as a texture. When you're building levels, you know, you can do a variety of different textures in here, get some really nice results, and then just start building out your level. You could do varieties of the same texture. So I could have made this palatable texture with, let's say, no skull on it. So, you know, I have a series of bricks, and then every so often I do another extrusion with a different material on there. So some have bricks, or some have skulls, some don't, right? There's a lot of variation of things you can do just by kind of using this this quick way of doing things. So hopefully this helps. Again, you can also accent the emissives that you have on here just by adding a point light. So if you wanted to, you could come in with, if we go Tools, Game Object, Light, Point Light, right here, if I can get it. Look at that, there it is. All right, I put this point light up to, so let's go ahead and turn my ProGrids off. Change it to something like green. All right, and then you could get it right up on those guys, and then bring the intensity up. So if you needed to, you could have, you know, one more brighter than the other, etc. All right, you can zoom in there and see that. It kind of helps add to some things. All right, so typically how I would use this is if I had like a standardized brick texture, and then every so often I switched it up with like a variation with something like a detail element, like a skull or something like that in there. That's just gonna help make it pop a little bit better. But you know, when you're building out your levels, use this methodology. It's really gonna help you in just getting different textures. You know, I do want you guys to create some of your own textures when we do have our build. So, you know, have fun with it. You don't have to, you know, go as crazy as I did here, or be the best artist in the world, but I want you to give it a shot and try it out, and go from there. So hopefully this helped you guys. Thanks.